My name is Lisa, and this is the story I never wanted to tell anyone. Not because I'm the villain in it, but because I'm not the hero either. I'm just the woman who abandoned her husband at the moment he needed her the most. The woman who chose fear over faith. Who chose family loyalty over the man she promised to stand beside forever. And by the time I realized what I had done, it was already too late. That Sunday dinner started like every other Sunday dinner. I had helped Mom set the table. David was sitting across from me, cutting into his chicken. Rachel was beside Kyle. Dad was at the head of the table, telling some story about work. Everything was normal. Everything was warm. And then my sister stood up. Her hand was shaking. Her voice was shaking. And the words that came out of her mouth, those words rearranged every single thing I thought I knew about my life. I'm pregnant. And it's David's. The room went completely silent. I remember looking at my plate first. Not at David. Not at Rachel. Just at my plate. Like if I stared at it long enough, someone would tell me I had misheard. Then I looked at David. He had gone pale. Completely white. He set his fork down slowly and said, "That never happened."
His voice was calm.
Too calm, I thought. Why is he so calm? Rachel started crying. Real tears. Shaking shoulders. The kind of crying that makes your chest hurt just watching it. My mom rushed to her side. My dad stood up. And I just sat there, frozen, watching my marriage crack right down the middle. David kept saying she was lying. But Rachel had details. She knew he had worn a gray shirt to bed that weekend at the lake house. She said he came to her room. She said he told her he wasn't happy with me. And something in me, something I am deeply ashamed of, believed her. Not because the evidence was overwhelming. Not because David had ever given me a reason to doubt him in 6 years of marriage. But because she was my little sister. Because she was crying. Because the alternative, that she was capable of this level of betrayal, was something my mind simply refused to process in that moment. So I told him to get out. David looked at me, not with anger, with something worse, disbelief. Like he couldn't believe the person who was supposed to know him better than anyone was choosing not to. Lisa, you know me. You know I wouldn't. And I wouldn't look at him. That one choice. That one moment of cowardice. That is what I have to live with. I told him to get out of my parents' house. I blocked him. I let my mom call him a predator. I let my dad threaten him. I sent him one text, "Don't contact me, don't contact my family," and then I let my husband go sleep in a Motel 6 while I sat in my childhood bedroom and convinced myself I had done the right thing. I hadn't done the right thing. I had done the easy thing. And those are not the same. My mom kept saying Rachel was brave for coming forward. My dad kept saying he always had a feeling about David. And I sat there and nodded and said nothing, because somewhere deep inside me, a small voice was getting louder. This doesn't add up. David and I had been together 7 years. He was a high school teacher who spent his weekends grading papers and making lesson plans. He was the man who remembered my mother's birthday every year without being reminded. He was the man who, on our third date, walked me home in the rain because I didn't want to take a cab and he didn't want me to walk alone. He was not the man Rachel was describing, but I pushed that voice down. Because Rachel was still crying every time I saw her. Because my parents were so certain. Because doubt felt like disloyalty, and in my family, you do not betray your own. Except I already had. I just hadn't admitted it to myself yet. Lisa, Rachel's blood work came back. There are some irregularities. The blood types don't match. It's medically impossible for David to be the father. I sat on the bathroom floor for a long time after that call. Not because I was relieved, but because I was devastated in a completely different way than I expected. The relief came later.
First came the shame.
Because the moment I heard those words, medically impossible, I didn't think about David. I thought about myself. About how easily I had turned on him. About how quickly 6 years of trust had collapsed under 20 minutes of tears. I called Rachel. She broke down immediately. Told me everything. Kyle was the father. His family was Catholic, conservative, and would have cut him off completely. His mom already hated Rachel. So Kyle came up with a plan. Blame someone else, buy some time, figure it out after the baby was born. And Rachel, my little sister who I had defended and protected and believed without question, had agreed to destroy my husband's life to protect her boyfriend's comfort. Temporary, she called it. As if a man's reputation is temporary. As if a marriage is temporary. As if the look on David's face when I told him to get out of my parents' house was temporary. David opened the door. He looked exhausted, worn down in a way I had never seen him before. And the worst part was, he wasn't surprised to see me. He just stepped aside and let me in because even after everything, that was who he was. I told him what Rachel said. I told him I was sorry. I told him I should have believed him. He didn't yell. He didn't slam doors. He just looked at me with those tired eyes and said the thing that broke me completely. I want you to tell me you believed me even for a second. And I couldn't answer. Because the truth was I hadn't. Not really. Not when it counted. He told me to leave. Rachel had already called them. Already confessed. My dad, the man who had threatened David and called him a predator and told him to disappear, called David to say they had made a terrible mistake. David said, "Yeah, you did." He was right. My mom left a voicemail. She was crying. Said she should have trusted him. Said she was sorry. He deleted it. He was right to delete it. I thought we had gotten past the worst of it. I thought sorry was enough. I thought that because the truth had come out, we could go back to what we were. But David looked at me and said something I will never forget. You didn't make a mistake, Lisa. You made a choice. When it mattered most, you chose her over me. I signed the papers with shaking hands. I watched him walk away. And I understood, in that moment, that some damage cannot be undone with an apology. Some betrayals cut too deep for sorry to reach. My parents have never been the same. The Sunday dinners still happen, but something is missing. Something that used to sit across the table from me and make me feel safe. I think about David sometimes. I wonder if he found his footing again. I hope he did. Because he deserved better than what happened to him. He deserved better than me. And the hardest thing I have ever had to accept is this: he was right to walk away. Not because he stopped loving me, but because I showed him in the moment that mattered most that I didn't fully love him back. Not the way he deserved. Not the way he needed. And that is something I will carry for the rest of my life. Some apologies arrive too late to matter. Some doors, once closed, were closed for a reason. And some lessons only teach themselves through loss.